Hello and welcome to WWE Questions You Want Answered. I'm Adam Wilborn from What Culture, joined by Adam Cleary and Adam Nicholas from What Culture to answer all your burning wrestling questions. But before we get into it, if you're a fan of this sort of thing, make sure you subscribe to What Culture Wrestling on either iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts from, for daily wrestling podcasts where we review Raw, SmackDown, the Wednesday Night War between AEW and NXT, pay-per-views, we have interviews, roundtable discussions, and a roundup of the week, complete with a bloody good quiz, of course, on Wrestle Culture. But as I said, joined by Cleary and Nicholas, we are live here on YouTube. So if you've got any questions answered, do please put them in the comments right now. But gents, we would start off with our headline story today. We had former WWE referee and veteran Jimmy Corderas recently speaking with Wrestling Inc. all about Braun Strowman and what is next for him following Extreme Rules. I'm desperate to know your thoughts on that pay-per-view as well in due course. But a lot of speculation now about Strowman potentially getting some sort of new gimmick after he was, I think, drowned by Bray Wyatt on Sunday. Cleary, what do you reckon about Braun getting a new gimmick? And was Extreme Rules the worst pay-per-view of the year?
Oh, you just tripped over your own bit there. Oh, no.
No. You hate to say it.
You didn't want to say ever, did you? Because it wasn't quite that bad.
No.
Oh, well, I don't know about any of that, Adam Wilborn, but I do know about the great taste of Pepsi Max. So. I think the problem with talking about new gimmicks for someone like Strowman is that he is very much, you get wrestlers every now and then who very much are their own gimmick. Like a man the size of Braun Strowman is a gimmick. A man as strong and as powerful and as dominating as that is itself a gimmick. It's hard to argue that Braun Strowman actually has like a developed wrestling persona that isn't just look at the size of this dude and look what he does. It's like the Big Show's never really had a lot of stuff. Like when he used to dress up a bit, that was it. Like the Big Show's gimmick has always been, look, he is a big man. And I think when you kind of get to that point, you've either got to go really far down one avenue, like the Undertaker Kane, for example, or your entire character is just, well, he's a beefy old lad, isn't he? So I don't really know what they could do with the Braun Strowman. But we talked about this in the build-up to it. Like, is this supposed to be the Lake of Reincarnation again? And does someone not own the rights to that?
It did look like Bray left and then, I don't know, teleported out of a dilapidated boat. Nicholas, what do you reckon to this story and to Extreme Rules?
Well, before I give you my take, can you do me a solid, seeing as how you do all your impressions? I just assumed you were going to do your Braun one, and you haven't done it. So, like, you know.
Get this rebrand.
Yeah, so are we not going to see any more of Braun Strowman?
The day you ever make it to the end of one of those will be impressive. I think it wouldn't be a bad thing if he was to get completely and utterly like repackaged and stuff, but I just worry about where that would lead to, because if he's gone into the Swamp of Regeneration, I guess.
I've got legal on the phone here, Nicholas. Yep, that's fine. Good,
is that good? Oh, we got
like
good. Just wanted to make sure we check the box. The Swamp of Regeneration. That's delightful. Yeah, I mean, if he gets paired with Bray, would that be the thing, or would he just get a brand new thing? That's what the worry is. Would they just be pushing these two back together, maybe as a team? Are they both going to wear a wacky mask? Just at this point, anything is possible, because we're at that lovely period in between the audience is coming back and we don't care. So they're just somewhere in that gap. It's got to be mad. It's got to be bright and shiny to distract everyone. But yes, a fresh lick of paint wouldn't be a bad thing. Just depends what kind of paint it is.
It just feels very bland. It's like the blandest version of Braun is the one they've decided to put the Universal Championship on. By the way, I just want to mention K. Shalar in the comments, who's just written, Jesus, his hair's grown so much, which I assume is to you, Nicholas, because clearly he's got a fresh trim going on.
It's fresh.
Nicholas, what did you think of Extreme Rules?
K. Salar, I believe, is what we were waiting for there. I thought Extreme Rules was exactly what I turned up for, and we mentioned this in Wrestle Culture, and we mentioned it probably in the podcast before that. It was going to be weird. It was going to be stupid. It was something big and shiny and daft to get everyone talking and to keep people engaged, whatever way possible that was. And the stupid thing is, that was actually some, whisper it, that was some little bits of good in there, you know? Like, there was some good stuff. That was just a lot of mad stuff or good stuff being spoiled by, say, like a daft finish or whatever. But yes, I think the general consensus seems to be lots of people were unhappy about Extreme Rules.
Clary, did you enjoy the eye for an eye match?
Right, genuinely, I already brought this up. What happens is I sleep now when the pay-per-views are on. It's absolutely lovely. But I am reliably, then I wake up in the morning and there's only 2 or 3 people who message me going, right, make sure you watch this, make sure you watch this, make sure you watch this. Just like the things you don't want to miss because it was really good. Without exception, all 3 of them, I woke up on Monday morning and I just had 3 messages that just said, Christ. And that was it. I think there's WWE now in a state where you can't say that, oh, this pay-per-view was terrible and it was bad and didn't work, etc., etc. But there was some good in it. And by there's some good in it, you just mean Sasha and Bayley were on this particular card. And I think it's kind of a case of that. Like, unbelievably, the eye for an eye match managed to not live up to the expectations of seeing a man have his eye removed in graphic, 3D, computer-generated, state-of-the-art Hollywood effects work. And in fact, just holds a prop eye. Oh, no. Like, it has fallen out of my head. Don't worry, no blood or anything like that. Just my eye. It's now fallen out of my head. No, I didn't enjoy it because how on earth were they ever going to make that enjoyable?
Yeah, I just love the thing of not will Rey Mysterio re-sign with WWE. It's, well, whatever happens with its optic nerve should tell you whether or not he's going to be in WWE or AEW, basically.
Do you know what sounds brilliant about all of this is that because it's the exact same eye that I guess we were led to believe he's was kind of blinding already. Somehow getting his eye removed on the stairs, according to medical experts, is going to potentially, as long as that optic nerve's all right, it'll be totally fine. So apparently this has reset the damage from the must have gone right in at the exact point and set the eye back to where it needed to go. Incredible stuff. Seth Rollins, future in surgery.
Yeah, optometrist Seth Rollins.
Sorry, to clarify here, a man whose gimmick is that he's a messiah is about to make a partially blind man too.
Oh my God, have you just stumbled on what could possibly be the greatest next steps of his messiah gimmick? Yeah.
Thank you to Mr. Phoenix for your donation. As I said, if you want any comments or questions read out, someone said about, there we are, Josh Howarth. So Seth Rollins used to be named CrossFit Jesus. Is Adam and his hair aiming for what culture Jesus? But anyway, Mr. Phoenix, thank you for your donation and for your question. Who says, thanks for shouting out my friend's charity on Sunday. No, thank you for your donation and thanks for joining us on Sunday, Mr. Phoenix. More importantly, if they do the mixed match challenge, could we see the Adam Cole Bayley community? It's a very shoehorned in way of asking that question. I'm going to open it out more for you, Mr. Adam Cleary. What do you reckon? A return of the mixed match challenge? I mean, it fed into the main event of Extreme Rules, so...
Mixed match challenge is genuinely one of these things that WWE have got and they don't realize they've got it. Like some of the stuff from they don't take it seriously. Like having Carmella and R-Truth like win it and then nobody really knew what was going on with any of that. Like, it's genuinely been really entertaining. Both years they've done it. Like, Asuka Miz was some of the funnest stuff I've seen in forever. And Alexa Bliss, Braun Strowman, although it had weird undertones of, would this man not wear this woman like a tiny hat? Like, was still quite enjoyable because they found new ways to get that match gimmick over, even though it was always just, she's going to stand there and make him hurt people, and then she's going to pin somebody. It's fresh and inventive as well, because as long as you keep the combinations different pretty much every year, there's always more to do. It's kind of taken away from the writers, so the wrestlers get a chance to kind of express themselves, where we've seen them do really good work, like with the 24/7 title, for example, when it's like, oh, go on, there's a little play park for you, which we're not going to overwrite. There's enough in there, and there's enough talent on the roster to make something like the mixed match challenge work. I wish they would let the men wrestle the women.
What do you reckon, Nicholas?
Yeah, I'm with Cleary on this. I think that's spot on. I think there's the amount of stuff they could have done with it where it doesn't even necessarily have to feed into anything, does it? Because as we're seeing at the moment, like everything is just by the week. So why not do a mixed match challenge? Because realistically, none of it is going to count, if you know what I mean. It didn't count back then, so it's going to count even less now. And you noticed that I've actually, funny enough, because of the Braun and Alexa stuff, I was watching a few of the older matches back just to get some screenshots. And you noticed how much like how comfortable everybody was. Everybody in the ring was just like totally relaxed, really happy. You could tell they were bouncing off each other. They'd all had a chance to like come up with gimmicks and be creative in their own right without being smothered by anybody telling them they couldn't do it, obviously within reason. Stuff like the New Day coming out all dressed in Carmella's singlet, like Lana and Rusev getting matching gear and all that kind of stuff. It was great. Couples getting to wrestle with each other. I would have said Cleary's right. We should go one further. And if they really want to test the waters with Charlotte Flair against blokes when she's finally back, that's the time to do it. And there's a bunch of women in there who probably have great matches. Shayna Baszler, another one, waiting around to do something. Why not do that?
Pranav says, adding NXT into the mix for a mixed match challenge would give a whole new set of fun matches and spots. Would you be up for that, Cleary, as our resident NXT expert?
1000% I would, yes. Purely just to see Mirror Universe, Gargano and Candice get a bit more screen time on the main roster. I really enjoyed that. Keith Lee and Mia Yim would be a fantastic team on there as well. Just this is the thing. I want them to take it a bit more seriously, and I want them to put a bit more investment in it, but not so much that it starts getting written for. Like, I want them to give it a better platform and more prominence, but I want them to, like, as Nicholas says, let them be comfortable with this, let them have as much fun as they want to have with it. To be honest, they've got that much talent on the roster, and they're always looking for things for people to do. I think the mixed matching should be its own division. You can have 1 or 2 matches every couple of weeks. There should be 2 belts in there for that. A mixed tag team division, I think, would be absolutely brilliant. But as ever, they never know what to do with all the millions of toys they've got, so we'll probably never get that. But I think that'll be fun. That'll be fun, mate. I like it.
Let's go to the comments section. Thank you, everyone, for your donations. The real Aaron Collins says, good morning, What Culture and chat. My first time to your live stream. Love your channel. Thank you so much for that, Aaron. And Prince GQ24 says, I can see Shayna getting involved in the Women's Raw Championship match, maybe even a triple threat at SummerSlam. I'll take Naomi versus Bayley at SummerSlam. Nicholas, are they heading for Sasha and Bayley at SummerSlam, or do you see potentially that becoming, a feud they continue or hold off on, I should say, and potentially give Naomi a chance, as people were talking about following SmackDown, and have Sasha and Shayna and Asuka heading into SummerSlam?
It's a tough one, this, isn't it? Because Bayley and Sasha have worked so hard to make it themselves important again. Everybody is now into this. There was a time when they were doing this same shtick way back when they were both faces, and it wasn't really working. Nobody was really buying into it, and it wasn't. They managed to stretch it out to the point where we did nothing with it. Somehow we're still here, but now they've made us interested. The worry is, and you could probably argue this has happened with a few performers recently. I always think of Keith Lee at the moment. That big title win could have felt a load bigger if it had not been held off for 4, because he was red hot at one point and he simmered down a little bit. These two are red hot right now. Are they still going to be red hot by the time we get to WrestleMania next year? Because I don't know if they will, purely because, not through their fault, but we've seen it with a ton of performers. They get oversaturated and eventually we don't get the thing we wanted. Maybe the trigger should be pulled at SummerSlam for those two, because at the end of the day, they could hold off on those other matches like triple threats, etc., for the big one, if that's what they really want to do.
Yeah, I think we've seen. I think even Cleary will admit with his Becky Lynch, you all sort of knew they were heading to WrestleMania, and yet the time it took to get it felt to WrestleMania 35 really sort of slowed up that story. Is that a fair assessment, Cleary?
Yeah, I think traditionally we sort of hark back to an age that's long since gone where you could lay the groundwork for stuff at SummerSlam or Survivor Series and it'd still feel like a big deal come WrestleMania. They've just got too many TV hours now to get through for all that. If you think about it, when we go back to the 90s and stuff in the early 2000s, you would watch your wrestling for 2 hours a week and that'd probably be all the engagement you had with everything. Like, there wasn't the discussion around it. There wasn't the social media penetration for it. Feuds and everything. Being hot and being at the top is incredibly short-lived because it's not just 1 or 2 hours of television a week they've got to get through. It's like pretty much constant 24/7, personalities and prevalence. And I just think if you're looking at this Sasha and Bayley thing and you think, oh, let's wait till WrestleMania, you have not been paying attention. Like, they literally had a first ever women's WrestleMania main event feud in the palm of their hands that nobody got bored of. Nobody thought it was a bad idea. Nobody changed their mind. But by the time it got to that show, it was like, Jesus, is this still going on? It's just, they need to pull the trigger at SummerSlam. And then, do you know what? If it's still interesting come the end of the year, then maybe think about picking it back up for WrestleMania. There's no reason they can't do both.
Jeff Raidmaker says, with Peyton Bloody Roy starting her YouTube... with Peyton Bloody Roy starting her YouTube channel...
I've never heard you not say that. Who's Peyton bloody Royce?
Yeah.
With Peyton bloody Royce starting
Thank
a
you.
YouTube channel
Yeah,
and
it is.
spears with AEW, is it worth start thinking about the Iconics? Moving on. Also, Cleary, solidarity. I'm not quite sure what is that is for, but still, what do you reckon, Cleary? Moving on with the Iconics, or was it just a case of Billy Bloody Kay possibly being involved with the ongoing global bastard?
I don't really know what the solidarity's for, so that's weirded me out a bit. But cheers, thank you, appreciate that. Presume it's about my key.
Oh, what have you just committed to there?
Oh, did you know Adam Cleary actually endorses this, despite it being illegal? In it. This is the thing. I don't think you should read too much into this. Like, she's going out with a guy, and wrestlers have all these interests outside of their own promotions now, especially with everything going on at the minute. And I think they're pulling together to do a YouTube. That's not really the end of the world, is it? Like, can you imagine if Apollo Crews was going out with someone from AEW? They absolutely would have done a lot of YouTube stuff together. Like, just seems like an obvious thing for both of them to do at the minute. And provided neither company's got an issue with it, then what's the problem? What's the problem? What's the problem?
Red Lantern 161, I love this, says unpopular comment / question as the champion of charades last week. Can WWE just only utilize regular talent and not legends of old for at least 2 years? Nicholas, I think I know your answer, but I'm coming to you anyway.
Nil point. Absolutely no chance. I mean, you'd imagine that, like, we'd all love that, wouldn't we? But actually, I say that, but after 2 years, I bet you'd be clamoring for someone stupid to come back. You would. You'd be sick. You'd be saying, oh, I'm tired of all this excellent talent who've come through and had a chance to do it all. They wouldn't live up to your expectations. And you'd be begging for a Bill Goldberg to come trotting back in so you could point at him and say, that's why these people are struggling. Because if you put them in the spotlight, not all of them you'd want to succeed would succeed. That's the problem.
Shout out to Maria Hussein, who says, had to watch a McFly vid, which is why I'm late. Well, better late than never, Maria. Thank you for joining us.
What McFly video, though? You can't just say that. You can't just drop in here and not give specifics.
The McFly video is 15 minutes long.
Maria, put it in the comments, and I will mention that. Speaking of legends, a lot of people asking this on Twitter, and now I'm just going to get it out of the way. A lot of people speculation about the new Nation of Domination after Ron Simmons was spotted backstage with Bobby Lashley and MVP. Who wants to tackle this one?
I'll sort of tackle this, and I'm just specifically going to parrot what Benjamin Richardson said when we talked about this at work, because I think he's pretty much hit the nail on the head. If, with the way everything's going at the minute, and all the constant protests about civil liberties and all the questions being raised, if they wanted to put together a faction that was sort of designed to be reminiscent of the Nation, and it was all very much like grounded in the culture and things like that, they'd have to be face, and every single other black wrestler on the roster would have to be a part of it, and anybody who ever opposed them would literally be racist. So the ultimate suggestion is just don't do it.
The answer to the McFly song, by the way, before I get Nicholas's thoughts on this, has just been retracted. Wow. Okay.
Wow.
Oh,
I do believe, though, if I think I glanced at it, it was the Love is on the Radio Dougie remix, whatever that is.
Never.
right. That's a shame. I thought that was really
here
going to
we
be
go.
a home run.
Maria's hit it. Love is on the Radio Dougie's Silent Aggression mix. So thank you for that, Maria. We'll go and check that out.
Right. Well,
Nicholas, new Nation of Domination.
I think this happens a lot, and just to follow on from what Cleary said there already, good points, and we had the conversation at work previously, but I think it's just a shame that every time a stable could come together that just so happens to have black members in it, people immediately say, we need a new Nation of Domination. This happened when the New Day got together, didn't it? Everyone was like, this is what's going to be. This is going to be the thing. It doesn't necessarily need to be that. I do think Cleary's right, exactly what he says there. If they did do it, then they'd have to follow certain guidelines, and those are the guidelines that are there, which ultimately means why do it? Because there's absolutely no chance that they could do it tastefully. They just wouldn't be able to do it. They couldn't do it with the Nation Domination. And we all remember all the racist stuff being written on walls by DX and stuff like that. It was, by the Heart Foundation, it might have been. It was just, wasn't good. Wasn't good viewing at all. So that'd be a danger they could fall back into that territory. And in 2020, there's just no time for that at all, is there?
It makes kind of makes a bit of a mockery of the whole thing, though, doesn't it? Like, we can use this very, very important, very present political movement to get a wrestling stable out of. It's just like, I'd rather the company like brought in actual change to the way they book the things, or laid out a charter to give better opportunities to particular wrestlers, rather than just go, oh yeah, let's do a thing about it where they wrestle. Just,
hi to Ian Barron, who wanted a shout out. And I got another question from an Ian on Twitter here. I realize this is WWE questions you want answered, so I'm going to slip this in very quickly, Adam Nicholas. Are we seeing the return of Are we seeing the return of the cleaner version of Kenny Omega in AEW, do you reckon?
Well, we've seen whispers, haven't we? I've noticed this myself on the timeline. A lot of people talking about this. And I don't think anybody would be opposed to it. Does he need to do it, though, is the question. Because a lot of people are saying they're not happy with, in particular, Kenny Omega's single stuff. And I don't know. I'm not sure if I agree with that take. I think what he's been doing has been good, just being a different kind of good to what everybody was expecting. And he could quite easily pick the cleaner gimmick up. And I'm sure we'd all love it because it would be cleaner 2.0 and it would be brilliant, I'm sure. But you'd imagine Kenny's probably quite interested in coming up with another creative avenue, I would think. And I think that would be where he'd head to. But Smash could too. The cleaner returning on AEW anytime soon.
Bobby AJ asks, when will we see Adam Cleary versus Simon Miller for control of ups and downs? And what will the stipulation be? I want the loser to lose their hair. We've had a bit of a track record here between you and Miller, Cleary, and there's only really been one victor.
I just jog my memory here because we did the Survivor Series thing, which was obviously he had a 2-on-1 for that. That was quite good, and I beat him there. That was good. Then of course we had the stand-up comedy one at WrestleMania, beat him there as well. So I beat him at Survivor Series and I beat him at WrestleMania. So I don't mind beating him at SummerSlam as well. It'd be really nice if I could get the big 4 over him. That would be good.
Daz4785 says, loving Adam Nicholas's hair, it needs the 24/7 title. And Matthew McFadden says, in the light of Impact doing really well, I'm getting lax here. This is meant to be WWE questions, and we will return to it in a second. Who, in your opinion, is TNA or Impact's greatest ever character, and why is it Stone Cold Shark Boy?
Yeah.
Nicholas, any memories from TNA?
Well, before we go any further, I'm just going to say this is probably the last time I'm going to get this hair out. It wasn't supposed to be so much of a goddamn distraction. It's just too hot to wear a hat. But on top of that, though, Impact Wrestling, I mean, Stone Cold Shark Boy was pretty great. Like, I was pretty much right up there. Although saying that, I'll tell you what, in a less piss-takey kind of way, I just always enjoyed everything that happened with Samoa Joe and Kurt Angle. Like, everything. Absolutely everything was just great. Good time. And I wasn't even like a massive watcher at the time, and I found myself going across to see that because it was just so great.
Any TNA memories, Cleary?
Somewhere between everything AJ Styles did when his body was just like, let's do literally everything we possibly can, and Booker T adopting the African accent.
Yeah, that was a that is a classic. Yeah, I think Shark Boy.
On that topic, Cleary, you've raised a great point there, because that clip was doing the rounds recently where he got off the commentary desk and he was talking at the mic and doing the voice all the way through as he was stomping mud holes in people. It was amazing.
Yeah, I've seen some clips of those recently with Nash as part. I think it's Paparazzi Productions. Unsurprisingly, Michael Hanford got me on this, and it was a big boy popper. That. Final question then, as we wrap up here, we look ahead to this week's episode of SmackDown, where one of the matches that was supposed to be at Extreme Rules, but inexplicably, presumably to pop a rating, is taking place. A bar fight between Jeff Hardy and Sheamus. Cleary, how do you see this one going down?
Oh, genuinely, the way they've been doing all the gimmick matches lately, it wouldn't surprise me at all if the two of them just turn up with a bar, like a physical metal bar, and that's how it's a bar fight. This whole Jeff Hardy gimmicks, it stinks. Like, even going back to him chucking the piss all over Sheamus, none of this has worked. It's all been really tastelessly handled. The only highlight of it has been when he was taking the urine sample, someone in the crowd shouting at Sheamus, "What are you looking for? Why do you keep looking at it?" And that's been it. It just, every now and then, I think WWE, I know we complain that they just drop storylines and, don't wrap things up properly, but I think every once in a while they should do that and just accept that something isn't working and let it die. And I really wish they would let this die.
Yeah, Nicholas, before I get your thoughts, they're persisting with this. Let's use Jeff Hardy's genuine problem with, alcohol and drug addiction as a storyline. Who's the hacker? Who cares? Put Mustafa Ali on Monday Night Raw. What do you reckon to all this, Nicholas?
So, in terms of I'll go for Mustafa Ali first, I guess. The only real huge takeaway I've got from that is, forget about the hacker, man, because how jacked is Mustafa Ali now? He's like, honestly, I'm getting vibes of like Dean Ambrose when he turned back up after that time off. He's just been working away. Like, I'm happy to see him back. Obviously, it's weird that he's just randomly on Raw now with little to no real explanation, truth be told. And if the hacker gimmick was in fact for him, then you do get the worry that that is definitely over. And it's weird because the gear he had on kind of felt like it looked a lot like the symbols that spent a lot of time. I don't know. It's a shame because
could he still be the hacker? Could he still?
He could. Maybe he's not really there. Maybe it's a hologram. Maybe it's just, and that's how he looks so jacked because he's tweaked himself a little bit on the attributes. Who knows? Can I just point out though, before I forget, because that just came to me while you just one about the bar fight there. Wouldn't it be a great twist, or wouldn't it have been a great twist if the bar fight between Sheamus and Jeff Hardy had just Jeff had turned up and didn't realize he was stepping into a fight with the bar. Sheamus and Cesaro just kicked the crap out of him.
So happy to see Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura, though, as SmackDown tag champs. I thought that was one of the real highlights of it, Extreme Rules. Thank you to Ronald Shedrick for your donation. I can't help but feel WWE are really going to lean into the distasteful nature of this whole bar fight, and Jeff Hardy's going to get soaked with alcohol. My prediction is they might even do a flipping gimmick where, because they love a little swerve at the moment, where Jeff Hardy's having a drink and Sheamus is like, I told you, fella, you can't live without the alcohol. And then he turns it around and it's a Beck's Blue. There you go. Swerve.
I was so, and it's a pint of piss.
Anyway, thank you so much for your questions, for your donations. Let us know what you think to the questions we've been asked today in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And subscribe to What Culture Wrestling, wherever you get your podcasts from, for daily wrestling podcasts. As well as that, by the way, if you're a big fan of football, go and check out What Culture Football. We've had a lot of fun and fans and whatever doing all that recently.
I haven't got any fans.
Yes, we'd like more fans to enjoy the fun we are having over at What Culture Football. So go and check that out if that's something you are interested in. You can let us know your thoughts on Twitter as well at What Culture WWE. As Adam Cleary's had a quick sip of drink, I'll ask Adam Nicholas where we can get you on Twitter first.
I don't know. I was just about to say something stupid there, and I think I'll just say my handle instead. It's Adam Nicholas.
Cleary, where can people get you on Twitter?
Get me on Twitter at Adam Cleary CLERY. But is anybody else looking at the bottom of their screen right now and just seeing Phil playing guitar for absolutely no reason? Phil, unmute your mic. Phil, let everyone hear you play.
He's trying to make up for the lack of audio last week with more audio this week.
Come on, Phil, give us a song.
No.
Come on, Phil. Phil, you owe the people a song. We had to do charades last week because of you.
It's true.
Come on.
No.
Come on, just a little bit.
There you go.
Hey.
I was trying to think if I can remember any wrestling themes, but I can't.
You can get our lovely editor Phil at Phil My Chambers on Twitter. You can get me at Adam Wilman. Get us all at What Culture WWE. But this has been WWE Questions You Want Answered. My thanks to Adam Cleary and to Adam Nicholas. Thanks to everyone who's joined us for today. And we'll see you soon.
Right.